Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good morning! Good morning, good morning, good morning! Happy Wednesday, October 2nd, the second day of Red October. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to find out about the credit union difference. All right. I'm scared. I have to tell you right off the bat, I'm scared. You want to tell me get a dog? I have one. All right. You want to tell me to man up? I'll try. But I'm officially scared, right? Like the showdown's going to happen. It will be awesome, and I still think Phillies win, but the showdown will happen. Mets, Phillies in a division series. I mean, it's shaping up to be an incredible October because you have Padres, Dodgers on the other side, 2-hour drive, 2.5 from San Diego to LA. And of course, 2-hour drive from Philadelphia to New York. So it's happening. Yesterday, those stinking vampires, right? Milwaukee, I'm watching this game. I'm breathless watching the game. All right, first inning, they're all over Severino. Brew Crew, first 3 guys reach base. Right, Sarang, like they're just raking. Churio, RBI, they're up 2-0. All right, Brew Crew. Want the Brew Crew? Brew Crew's a great matchup for the Phillies. And then top of the second, freaking vampires. They score 3. They go up 3-2. And then bottom 4. Here come the Brewers again. And they could have had, in both those innings, they left runs on the table. They left runs on the table in both those innings. So they scored 2 in the bottom of the 4 in the 4th. So it's 4-3 Milwaukee going into the 5th inning. 2 outs. And they put up a 5-run, 2-out rally to take control of the game and to go on the win at 8-4. And they're hot. If they don't remind us of the Phillies 2 years ago, they're just hot. They're blazing right now. Ugh. And listen, their pitching is not good. And even yesterday, the top of their lineup, Lindor, Iglesias, and Nimmo, combined 2 for 14. And they put up 8 runs. They're 1 through 3, put up 2 for 14, and they scored 8 runs. I don't even think Alonso did anything either. Like, it's crazy how they're playing right now. So it's setting up for amazing theater. In fact, Andrew, our producer, talked about used the word theater, and that's what it's going to be, man. Phillies and Mets have never played one another in the playoffs. This incredible ride. We hate the Mets, right? This is unbelievable that we will get the Mets. Now, I still feel good for Philly's chances, but they're scary, right? Like, they're scary. Now, today they got Manea going, and the Brewers have Frankie Montas. So I just think the Mets, the way they're playing, I think they probably win today, and then the showdown is on Saturday, Citizens Bank Park. Wow. You can say it. It'll be a prime time. Philadelphia, New York. Wow, my God. It'll be amazing. The bank will be crazy. Everybody will be nuts. South Philadelphia will be roaring. Will be shaking for Red October. Baseball is the greatest in October. It's unparalleled. There's playoff hockey, which is really, really good. There's playoff basketball, which is really, really good. Something about playoff baseball, man. And if you watched, I was watching the Padres last night, and they're another team that scares me. they're incredible. That Michael King is just filthy. When he's on, like he's got pitches that go, you can't tell if it's going to break left or right. You got to guess. Like he's got just filthy stuff. But that Petco was rocking. Like it was all potted up. Oh, man. Tatis hit a home run in the bottom of the first. The place exploded. Reminded me of Cincinnati Park. But that's what you get with baseball. This National League playoffs are going to be amazing. So we'll talk a lot of that because I just can't get enough of Phillies-Mets Showdown. I mean, that's going to be amazing. So we'll talk about that. We got, obviously, Eagles into the bye. We got a little flyer action with our man Charlie O'Connor. As we check in, we're inside a week of the opener, right? Like we're about to get started pretty soon with a little Flyers action. So I want to get a training camp update, preseason update, because Michkov is already showing you he's a stud. So we'll talk to Charlie coming up. We'll talk to Kevin the Gandhi. We'll talk to the Geek about our fantasy picks. So lots to do. Busy show. Let's welcome our boys, JP, John Zapata, BG, Violations, Greg Caputo.
What up?
Dude.
Baseball.
Oh, my God.
Playoff
October up, baby.
Dude, I have to admit, though, the Mets are scary.
Yeah, cause
Like, they're freaking me out a little bit.
they are.
We're going to role reverse all. Bleep the Mets. I'm not worried about these guys.
You're not?
No.
Why?
My biggest concern is a bunch of the creeps are going to ruin the atmosphere in the ballpark, but I think the players are going to handle the business. I mean, I'm looking. Phillies are 7-6 versus the Mets this year. 3 of those 6 losses are Taiwan starts, so they're 7-3. Bring it.
I like that. I love that, which is throw out Walker.
Yeah.
Throw Walker out. So I like
Might
that.
throw a Ranger out too.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah, well, Ranger scares me. I already said
Yeah,
we
he
were
does.
talking rotation before the show, and I'm going. First of all, I would start Sanchez in game 2 at home. As much as you know, I just trust Nola more at Citi Field,
Of course.
right?
Yeah, in a hostile environment.
Yeah, I
there
trust
too.
Nola there. I'd rather go Nola game 3. Sanchez much better at CBP, so I'd rather kind of do that.
Yeah.
But what scares me about them is they're not good. They're not that good. Like their pitching isn't good. Peterson, Minea, right? Severino. I mean, they're all like 2s and 3s and 4s.
They don't have a stud. That's
Right.
true.
So I look at them and I go, even their lineup, like they got some good players, but that's not like, oh my God, I fear that lineup. That's not Tatis and, Machado
Right.
and Bogarts and Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill, like the Padres. Padres
Right.
are nasty.
Yeah, Alonso's a little. He does well at CBP. Lindor's good.
Yeah, listen, Francisco Lindor is their best player. He's a great
Yeah,
player. He is.
he's in running for.
He was a great player in
MVP,
best
Cleveland.
shortstop.
Yeah.
He was, and he had that dip when he came to New York.
Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah.
Everybody else, come on, stop.
Nemo. Hate that guy.
Nemo, I
hate him.
can't stand
I
him.
hate him. I hate the way he
Nemo,
runs. I hate his
Taylor,
Alonso,
Alvarez,
Short.
Marte.
pain in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. But
They're just like
that's
a
not,
nuisance team.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. The only thing that scares me, again, guys, is they're hot.
I mean, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna mash it up, right? They're gonna use their power. They're gonna use their bats. And the pitching, all they have to do is just not screw it up. And that's pretty much what their game plan is right now. And listen, it's working so far.
And you know what's scary is how they're coming back in these games.
Yeah,
man.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't because that gives a
dude.
team confidence, right? Like that gives a team a lot of
They never-
things to draw on,
they
right?
never feel like they're out of it.
No,
You
and they're
can't beat their morale
right.
down.
They're in belief mode.
Just stomp on that.
Like that's right. You got to beat them game 1.
Right.
Handily.
Is so crucial. Now again, we're saying that the Mets will finish off Milwaukee, which I think they're gonna.
Well,
Yeah.
no team's ever won the first game of these wild cards and lost the series.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's best of 3. So
yeah,
If there's
they
a
changed
team-
that now to best of 3.
stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like best of 3 either. Even the division series, I don't like best of 5.
No, I like 7, but I guess then you're going into mid-November. It's cold.
Would they listen? You got to pick what you want if you're Major League Baseball, right? you pick, do I want regular season? And if that means you want regular season, then you just got to do 2 playoff tiers and be done with it, right? Or if you want to go all the way, then you got to shorten the season, right? And lop off, I don't know, go to 150, right? We play. You got to lop off 12 games.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
And then you start middle of September. So this way you go middle of September to the end of October. Yeah. And you do 7-game series. And it's just like the NBA and the NHL.
I know not all the traditionalists may not like that, but I mean, come on, guys. You're seeing what's going on in these playoffs. Like, how can you not want more MLB playoffs?
Well, but like they already, like back in the day it was, we talk about the P. Rose, right?
Yeah.
So there were 4 divisions.
Right.
And if you won your division, you automatically went to the NLCS.
Right.
So that year, the Phillies won in 80. The Phillies won the East. The Astros won the West, and they played each other. And that was it. It was the Astros were a National League team back then.
I like a 150, nice even number, right?
I'm with
Simple. I'm down with that because I do not want games earlier in March. I hate the beginning when it's cold. Yeah, I want baseball. I want nice weather. I don't want cold.
Let me ask you a question.
Start early.
Would you shorten spring training? Like, you know how the NFL just basically says, well, like preseason's getting shorter and shorter, and we're killing game.
No, I like spring training. I like seeing the boys in the heat and the warmth while we're cold up here. No, I like the vibe of spring training. The semis coming up and back.
Well, I'm saying, like, would you go like you're still going to do that?
Yeah.
But would you start the season? There's a way to do it. Like, you could start the season March 20th. Right, you
too early. 10
days early, but you play games in warm climates.
Selfishly, yes, for myself.
And domes.
My birthday's around that time, so I'd like the season to start around my birthday time.
If they do warm climates and domes, so I don't have to. But then the home opener, 12 games into the season before we get our own home opener. I mean, what is it? Just chop off some games.
All right, so your best, you go
whack. We whack off some games.
Whack them off. 148 is the number.
All right, yeah, I'm in.
I'm in on that.
All right, 148. Take it down for 162. Yeah. 148 is the number.
Yes.
And you go, and then you can expand your playoffs.
Yeah.
Because as it stands, it's not really fair. Like, all of a sudden, like, these teams, not that I'm going to cry for the Braves, right? But throughout the years, right, the Braves had these great regular seasons, and then they're out. Like, which is really kind of not, like, justified. Like, you play all year, and you're dominant, and then you have a bad week, and you're out.
And like a regular season series is 3 games. This is the playoffs, so it should be special. It should be a little more to it.
Then you got to go 7-7-7.
I would love 7-7-7. Yeah. I mean,
the only problem with baseball. 7 in the wild card is the division winners can't sit that long.
Oh, this is true.
So,
all right, we go 5.
Yeah, I'm okay with 5 on just the wild card though. Everything else
5-7-7-7. Oh, so
exactly.
5 division series 7.
Yeah.
The NLCS, ALCS 7, World Series 7.
I'm all in on this.
World Series 9. Let's get more World Series games.
Dude, I'm waiting. Yeah. When is that going to happen?
Yeah, when
is the best of 9 going to happen?
Yeah, why not?
Like,
baseball, if
I was like the NBA, because the NBA is unafraid. Like, they'll push the envelope.
For sure.
Like, I would do a best of 9.
Why not? For the championship final? Yeah.
Like, that's a grueling series. Like, if you want to win a title, then you got to win 5 games. You got to go best of 9.
Absolutely. Maybe even sprinkle in a neutral site game or 2 in the middle of it. Like, really
stop that idea.
You got to earn these championships, guys. Come on. Best of 9.
But the only problem is, like, if you're going to win it, you have to do it early, because if you have to win it either your home floor or the opponent's home.
Yeah. I think games 3 and 4 will do on neutral.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's been a really good year for baseball, though, man.
Oh, dude, it's been a great year for baseball. And I don't know about you guys. I was locked in to that game last night. I mean, all day. But I was locked in the Mets, and then I was locked in the Padres last night.
We had it on the dinner table, cuz it was pretty cool to watch.
I mean,
it's the crowd. I mean,
the Padres. Listen, if it's Phillies Padres in the NLCS, that's another epic series.
I mean, I've been singing about the Padres for like 6 weeks now. They're legit. Their
bullpen's ridiculous.
Just they have everything going on. I don't know what they have. I mean, we may have a slightly better. I mean, we have a better home advantage, but the Parx popping. They're good. They're dangerous. I don't want to see them. I take the Mets over them any day. Like I want to play
the Dodgers,
anybody but the
Padres. I'd rather play the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And Ohtani
100%
than play the Padres.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know these are all past. It's not indicative of this year, but the lowest postseason ERAs in baseball since the year 2000. Minimum 30 innings pitched. Ranger Suarez is 5th, 1.62.
Oh.
I just don't like the way
the mentality of it. I don't know if the body.
Of course, he's got the mentality. That's one of the things we loved about him.
I know.
I don't trust him right now.
You think we rushed him back?
No.
Rushed him. I felt like he was missed 3/4 of the season.
I thought they handled him
right though.
I thought they handled him perfectly. I would have done the same thing.
He just doesn't look right, man.
He doesn't look right because he's not right. Because the velo's not there. He's not. I listen. I think the Phillies handled him exactly the way you should. They handled him with kid gloves. They did the opposite. They didn't rush him back. Like they brought him back easy. They knew how important he was. We said all season, all regular season, how important Ranger's going to be the key.
Exactly.
Thank God for Sanchez, because he's made it. You have somebody to lean on.
Stepped up.
If there was no Sanchez,
they'd be in trouble this year.
I mean, we'd be looking at going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Who are you going to start?
They would have had to made a move at the deadline, but because they got nothing. Spencer Turnbull's shot. Mick Abel. Well, Spencer Turnbull's coming back.
Right.
He's throwing this week. He might be eligible to play. He might be our fourth starter. We got the mush coming up later. Charlie O'Connor. He was mushing Ranger from the get-go.
Yeah, he was right.
Yeah, he might need to. He might need to do some sage or something when he comes on later on.
He was right. He came down to earth.
Your boy Matt Vierling with a nice game yesterday.
Yeah,
1-for-4 with an RBI. Tigers are fun.
Dude,
I don't know how they're winning.
They have no offense.
No.
I mean, their lineup is horrible, right? Like
like Vierling as a leadoff hitter for a postseason team?
Right? Like think about that. I mean, they got one kid. The kid Green is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Riley Green is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Other than
The
that,
American League's weak.
it's weak. The Orioles shocked me, right? Like the fact that the Orioles got shut out, right? Like, Reagan's is good, right? Like we talked about it with Brad, but to get shut out, like their bats went cold and ice.
Yeah, man.
They've been cold for a few
2
weeks
months
now. 2 months.
See, that's what scares me about baseball, is that this team, we kept saying there's one eye on the Mets, you got one eye on the Mets, and now we got both eyes on them.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game log with the Mets for the last 30 or so days. Diamondbacks, White Sox, Bo Sox, Reds, Blue Jays, Phillies, Nats, Phillies, Milwaukee. I mean, not a tough slate of games.
Yeah, they were like 2010 last 30.
That's a schedule you can rack off some of these wins.
Doesn't matter. They're hot. That's the problem. The problem is they're hot. They believe.
Yeah.
I think they're slop, but they believe.
You know who crushes?
Philly, New York. Think about Philadelphia, New York now. We're going to have Sixers, Knicks is going to be, we talked about it the other day with Karl Anthony Towns going to the Knicks. That's going to be something. That's going to be a great rivalry.
I love New York Philly teams being good at the same time.
I know.
But we got to buy your tickets now, man. You got to buy tickets for these games Saturday and Sunday now before the Mets fans know they're in it and they blow their, because this is like monopoly money, the prices of our tickets down here compared to what they pay up at Citi Field. So they're going to take any ticket on the market if they're in. So buy your tickets now. Stop messing around. If you're selling your tickets, take a little bit off. Cut them prices 20%. Let's sell these tickets to Phillies fans.
I think I saw the cheapest price yesterday from Phillies tailgate was $271 right now. The cheapest.
Oh, really?
And that's a stand?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what the tickets. I got lower level seats with my partial plan. I paid $140 face value. So sell lower levels for $240. Get $100 off it and move on. Get them something to Phillies fans.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's spot
Yeah,
on.
I-
Can't
I'm
let the New
with
York
that vibe
takeover,
down
man.
there. We
No.
need that vibe.
Listen, that is so true. We can't have those come in and poison.
No, and they
No
feel
one
that.
G.
shit.
They're
down
poison.
here. Like,
What did Baldy talk about? The rat poison?
yeah.
Yesterday, Baldy talked about don't drink the rat poison. You're the Eagles. The rat poison's right there,
Yeah.
right? Don't let the rat poison in the Citizens Bank Park.
No, they did it at the what? I'm going to say the Spectrum. Jesus. At the arena,
Wells Fargo Center.
the Wells Fargo with the Knicks playoff game with the
Yeah.
Sixers.
Oh.
It was unbearable. There were so many Knicks
Dude.
fans in the
Oh,
building.
my
It
God.
can't
Madison
happen.
Square Garden.
That
happen.
can't happen down
Nah,
here.
it'll never happen at Citizens Bank Park.
I don't know. There's a lot of league tickets out there.
The Phillies are not the Sixers.
Won't
Sixers
happen.
put us
Well,
through way
remember
too
though, the
much.
Sixers, there was no fervor going into that series.
Right.
People were down. Like they weren't believing they were going to make a run. This Phillies team, everybody's believes it.
Legit.
So I think that we need sentinels,
Instant.
man. I need guards.
we
got to defend the land.
We got to stop the Amtrak or something. Block it off.
We know
That's the
we know
track.
the times. 4:08 both games. I think.
Right.
Plan it out. Get your babysitters now. If you're buying tickets, buy tickets now. You got to do it now.
Exactly.
You already know the time. It's 4:08.
4:08.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both
yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, 4:08.
Yeah.
First
I
pitch.
hate the Sunday.
4:08.
Yeah.
At least there's a bye week this week.
No, I know, but I hate the Sunday. I want prime time.
Yeah, you want that night?
We're gonna throw Dodgers
Lights.
prime time. Dodgers are
Well,
the late
why?
game.
Phillies-Mets, Philly, New York
I know.
is prime time.
The chill in the air.
I get the but you know one of those games has to be prime time, Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm
Major
with
League
you.
Baseball said no. Dodgers.
Especially like not for nothing. Like,
Both
this
nights, they're both games.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Is a solid rivalry. It's the first time we've seen them in the playoffs. Give us one primetime game for Warner.
I agree. I think there should be a prime. I think one of those games should be prime time.
Well, it's the Shohei effect. This is first time in the
No,
playoffs.
I get that. And listen,
First
that's
time,
why
so.
Saturday night it's got to be Dodgers. Sunday night, Phillies-Mets. You still got New York. You got the number one
Oh, I
media
agree,
market,
yeah.
and in Philadelphia, number 5. We're number 5. So we got 1 versus 5. I mean, come on.
That. 100%, cuz.
Yeah, I'm a little.
It's good for the working folks, though. You know, you go down, you can party, get your groove on.
Yeah,
You're home by 9.
I just don't want that Citizens Bank Park to be poisoned.
Yeah, we can't let it happen, man. We need
By
some
the-
kind of cohesiveness between sellers and buyers for today. Because if they win today, those,
Yeah,
those
I know
tickets
the
are going to
people-
be gone.
Same page.
From Queens.
No.
Let's get a horde of Phillies fans down there and block them out.
Well,
And once they get the tickets, they get the tickets.
So
You can't
years
block
ago,
them
when I
out.
was on the air, I made Philadelphia. I wanted to secede from the Union, right?
Mhm.
And we called our territory the land.
yeah.
All right, you remember that?
Yeah.
So the land went from Shore up to exit 9, like 8, on the Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah.
Cross the bridge all the way back, all the way out to Lancaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Harrisburg, middle of Delaware.
Yeah.
Like that swath of land is the land, right? And I wanted to secede and make it the 4-for-4 land. And I had defenders, like I got sentinels, an army, like, you know.
Like a good sentinel.
Yeah, I need a sentinel.
We need to bring them back for this.
Yeah.
Well, we need it. Yeah, we need it.
So do we just pronounce it the land, or like Cash was saying, is it LAHND? So it's land, or
So I'm up to renaming it.
yeah,
Like I just called it the land,
Right.
defend the land.
Yeah.
Because I was watching some movie and it's in my
You
head.
got to call it the Valley, Delaware Valley.
The Valley? I like the
Yeah,
Valley.
There's already
Nah,
a
that's
valley.
too Arizona.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
too
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
valley.
Yeah, I just-
Valley.
Yeah, Valley.
I got the image in my head.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Don't call
You're
me
right.
G.
We should build a crest for the land.
Dude.
So then that way we can all live under the sigil of.
We got the Renaissance man.
Hey, how about you build us
I
a
love
boat?
that.
Build us
Yeah.
a boat with a drawbridge around the
Yeah.
land.
No, listen, I love that. I love that idea too.
Yeah.
I want to take over. Like I want to just take, like Jersey shouldn't exist, right? Seriously,
Agreed.
No, we had this
He
conversation.
says this
no.
as a Jersey resident.
Fake state.
Yeah, me too. I agree. It
it shouldn't exist.
should be Pennsylvania, New York.
I mean, Jersey's a suburb. You know,
It's
I
Philadelphia.
mean, Delaware's got more of a flex to stand than Jersey
Our
does.
state.
Oh, yeah, if it is a first date. It's
Yeah.
a corporate hideout for taxes.
Right, exactly. All right, we got lots to get to. Charlie O'Connor is going to join us coming up to talk a little Fly Guys.
Yeah.
But first, tell me about Rite Aid, buddy.
Let's do it. You know what? Obviously, listen, we're in fall season, so it's allergy season. But I'm going to tell you what really gives you the most allergies. It's those stinking Mets fans, guys. Listen, I'm tired of them. They're giving me the most allergies. So you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to go to Rite Aid. All right, maybe they can fix the New York situation. All right. So fall allergies can begin as early as August and can last through November. So we are in the heat of it. All right. The main culprits are ragweed and mold. Other allergens include plants such as sagebrush, tumbleweed, and yes, the pigweed. Dust mites, pet dander, and fur. Listen, I have a dog at home. I completely get that. Our allergic reactions occur when your body misidentifies a substance such as pollen as harmful to the body, and then your immune system releases histamines to fight off the allergens. Interestingly enough, these same histamines are also the cause of your allergy symptoms, such as the runny nose, the itchy or watery eyes that we all know, or wheezing. That's why antihistamines and medication that suppress the amount of histamines in your body are often the first line of defense to treating your allergy symptoms. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not fun. We all see the cuz go through it. You are probably going through it right now. All those symptoms that we just talked about, you're going through it. So it's not fun. So right now, head on over to your local Rite Aid. Ask the local pharmacist what's best for you and find the best cure for your allergies this season. Stock up on allergy relief and catch up on your immunizations as far as RSV, shingles, and much, much more. And you can walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at RiteAid.com. So whether it be stuff for inside the house or for your allergy relief, consider our friends over at Rite Aid.
All right, buddy. I want to tell you about Rothman. Yes, Rothman Orthopedics. I know a lot about Rothman, right? I was a patient. It was amazing. My Achilles, now I ruptured my left Achilles years ago, and then my right Achilles started to bother me, and it got really bad. It was really sore, and I'm like, it's just a moment. It's going to pop. I know it's going to pop. And so I go in, it was swollen, very painful, could barely walk. And they go, you don't need surgery. Dr. Pedowitz, in fact, who was just amazing. Dr. Pedowitz says, you don't need surgery. Here's what we're going to do. All right? Instead of cutting. Now, most orthopedics are going to go, we want to cut you because that's, you're making money. So they go, no. Dr. Pedowitz says, listen, we're going to try this therapy first. And it was unbelievable what they did. I had these nitro packs on my Achilles where there's not a lot of blood flow. So with the nitroglycerin packs on my Achilles, it stimulated the blood flow. I was in a boot, and it stimulated the blood flow, and it healed. And no pain, went away. And I thought for sure it was going to rupture and surgery, and it worked without it. And that's all about Rothman. I trust Rothman with my kids, anybody. I mean, if I told you they are the best. So if you got joints aching, hands cramping, back out of whack, Rothman's got you. At Rothman Orthopedics, practicing specialized care has been their passion for over 50 years. Their mission, high quality, compassionate, affordable care rooted in research. Research leading to new treatments and better outcomes like I just told you about. Each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty, hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right in your backyard. That's right. So you can cross over the defense, drain those jumpers, root for our teams like no other fans in the country. They are Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. All right, do yourself a favor. Visit RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho, ORTHO.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment. So any of that stuff's going on, make sure you make your appointment at Rothman Orthopedics. Now, let's go to the all PHLY Flyers, man. Yes. Does an incredible job. His practice videos are ridiculous.
Awesome.
His game day, the coverage is tremendous. Charlie O'Connor.
Charlie!
We say, buddy.
How's it going? It's good to be on the show today.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm so excited for this team. And I'm like, you know what? We need it with all the stuff going on, right? Eagles, all that drama, right? Phillies, Red October starting. We needed like a Flyers update, like a Flyers primer for people that maybe not, a little busy, can't watch the preseason. We've already seen that Michkov is a player, man. So why don't you hit us with some good stuff from the preseason that you've seen?
Yeah, I think the big story of the preseason is obviously Matvei Michkov. And I think that's why so many people are so excited, because the hype has been there for a long time, basically since before he was even drafted. Obviously, the Flyers took him in the draft in 2023, but he's been hyped up for years as one of the next big things. Obviously, the Flyers lucked out to get him with the 7th overall pick in 2023, and now he's here. But there's a world where he would have just shown up, and in the preseason, maybe he's still feeling his way through. He's just okay, shows some flashes, but nothing terribly special. Instead, in this preseason, if you're one of the people that is a diehard Flyers fan and has watched every preseason game, you've been consistently wowed by this kid. He is playing fantastic. He's bringing exactly what the Flyers needed. And look, I'm not saying that there aren't other stories about this team. I'm not saying that there aren't other players that are worth talking about. The goaltending is very interesting. There's a lot of youngish guys that are looking to take the next step. But in my opinion, if you're a casual and you're thinking to yourself, should I maybe get back into this Flyers thing? Maybe I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but man, when they're good, it's fun. Michkov is the reason to check them out, because this is on the levels of like Embiid's first year, when you got the super hype guy who from the jump you can tell he's going to be special. And that's pretty much what Michkov has done in this preseason.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when he's on the ice, he like stands out neon. You remember back in the day, he used to have the glowing puck right?
Yeah.
Right?
Crack Fox tracker or something.
And it feels like Michkov is glowing on the ice. He's just he's so different than what we have seen, especially in recently.
Yeah, and there's so many elements to his game that I think he's going to develop into that we haven't even seen yet. But the one that has popped the earliest is the playmaking ability. This kid can pass, and not just in the sense of, he can feather the puck through 3 guys, which he can do, but it's the vision. It's that, and I've said this before, when you're watching a game from the press box, and Anthony, I'm sure you know this as well, the game seems slower than it does when you're, either playing or when you're at ice level, just because you can see everything. You can see the wide view. And when you're up there, you can and I am far from a good hockey player. I'm nowhere near an NHL caliber player, but you can see what plays a guy should make before he makes it, because you can see the ice in a way that he can't. The thing with Michkov that makes him so fantastic is it's not just that he always makes the right play. It's that he makes plays that when you're watching from up top, you didn't even see were possible. Like he'll be leading a recipient of a pass the same way a quarterback leads a receiver, where he's throwing it to a spot rather than throwing to where he is. That's the way Michkov passes the puck. And because of that, he's able to help the guys he's passing the puck to get separation and create high-quality chances that most players wouldn't even think that those chances were possible. And he's got a goal-scoring touch, too, that I think is going to pop as he gets more comfortable. You're starting to see it at the end of camp, the last couple games. He's taking more shots. He's going to the net a little bit more. But from the jump, the passing ability, the vision, the hockey IQ, that's what's really popped. And it's really exciting because I don't know if there's been a player since prime Claude Giroux that I could say that about his passing, that he sees plays on a regular basis that even when you're watching up top, you don't see.
And, let's face it, the franchise hasn't had a player of this magnitude since Lindros. I mean, it's a long time ago now.
Yeah, I don't think that there's been a player that's excited the fan base from the start to the degree that Michkov has.
Who else do you like? What about Luchenko? What do you think of him as a line mate? What's your scouting report?
Well, he's having a great camp, and given the fact that this guy, so Jet Luchenko for the casual Flyers fans, he was their first round pick in June. They picked him 13th overall, so they picked him high. but not at the level that you would expect the guy's just going to come in and dominate. That's not the 13th overall pick. Usually those guys take a year or two to become NHLers. Well, from the jump in this camp, he's looked real good. He's extremely fast. Like, he earns the name Jet. He is a great skater. He can fly out there. But it's the hockey IQ, it's the intelligence, it's the little things, the little smart plays that he's making that really, I think, have the coaches excited. He was great in rookie camp. He had a fantastic first game, the first preseason game. I went down there in Washington. He had 2 assists. He was one of the best players on the ice. Since then, he's played in a bunch of games, and he's looked okay. And here's the thing. For an 18-year-old, he's a young 18-year-old. He turned 18 in August. So he is a he's a young 18.
Yeah.
For an 18-year-old to be holding his own a few months after being drafted in the NHL preseason, that's impressive enough. And it speaks to his upside as a player, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. I'm not sure if over these last 3 games, he's done enough to bang the door down and stay with the team. But let me tell you this, the Flyers are very intrigued. We talked to John Tortorella yesterday, and he said he's very much still in the picture. So those are the decisions that are probably going to be made in the next, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, because they start their season next Friday, I believe, is when when the opener is. So they have some time. If I had to guess, I would guess he gets sent back, but I also get the sense that John Tortorella loves this kid. So you never know. We'll have to wait and see.
Real quick, just curious, give me the top 2 lines right now, you think?
So right now it looks like your top line, and again, we'll see how this actually plays out in terms of which line is the most effective. It looks like the top line they've been trying out the most has been Tyson Forrester, Sean Couturier, and Travis Konechny. And then your second line, the one they've used by far the most in preseason, is Owen Tippett, Morgan Frost, and then Matvei Michkov. Now, last night they juggled a little bit. They had Michkov on a line with Konechny for quite a while in the second half of the game. So they've made some maneuvers. But based on what they've run the most at camp, it looks like those very likely could be your top 2 lines in game 1.
Yeah, that's going to be. I'm excited, man. There's like talent. Like at least there's some goals in the top 2 lines.
Yeah, the kid's putting up points, right?
Yeah,
6 points in 4 games. Hey, I want to get back to Jet for a second because his speed, I guess, from everything I read, is the thing that pops off. Is there anything else he does well? Like, does he have good hands, a good shot, or what are his deficiencies that keep him from making the squad?
Well, it's interesting you ask about his hands because he does have good hands in theory. He can make plays. I've seen him make really good plays. The Flyers have certainly seen him make really good plays. That's why they took him with the pick they took him at. He just doesn't show it consistently. He'll make a really good pass and then he'll miss on 3 straight. So it's there. It's just not fully developed yet. And I think that's the big thing. He has a good shot. It's just he doesn't use it enough. So he's got these offensive tools. He just hasn't fully molded them into a package that allows him to fully take advantage of them yet. Whereas the skating is there. Like, he can fly, and that's not going anywhere. The details, the smart little plays with the puck, the battle level along the boards, that's all there. It's the offensive ability that it's not non-existent. It's just not been fully molded yet. And I think if he gets sent back to juniors, that's going to be why they send him back. Because they're going to say, you know what, kid, look, you got the skating ability. Physically, you could probably hang on as a 3rd, 4th line center in the NHL. But what we want you to do is we want you to go back to juniors, and we want you to spend an entire year just making plays and figuring out how to make the most creative, most dangerous play possible. And then next year, when you're at camp, hopefully you can execute on a few more of those plays, and then be a more effective all-around player in the NHL.
Hey, Sal, can you go through the goalie situation and kind of handicap like what you're seeing from that crew?
Sure. So the number one, this is unquestioned, is Sam Ersson. John Tortorella said that on multiple occasions. He's going to be the number one. He'd like Ersson, the way he's envisioning it, to get somewhere in like the 50 to 60 game range. So he is very much the number one. And say this about Ersson, he's had a great camp. He's looked really good. He's appeared in 2 preseason games. He had a shutout in his first one. Last night, the Flyers did not play well in Boston. He was the only reason that game wasn't a total blowout. He was fantastic from start to finish. So Ersson's your number one. Your projected number 2 is Ivan Fedotov, who's the big Russian, the 6'7" Russian they brought over at the end of last season. He has had, I would say, an okay camp, and that might be charitable. He hasn't looked terrible, but there's an awkwardness to his style. Now, he's a tall guy, so those guys are always going to be a little bit awkward in that.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. But
it's weird. You're right. Like, the one thing about him is, and I remember being at his first game, and one thing about him is he's got a weird movement. It's not fluid, right? Like it's not lumbering, but it's not fluid.
I would agree with that. And you know what? Some big goalies can get away with that because they're just so big and they have the positioning where, they might get over a little bit slower than the 6-foot goalie, but because they take up so much space, it almost doesn't matter. That's the hope. But I think he's projected to more be the backup. And then you've got Alexei Kolosov in the mix. And Kolosov just came over last week.
This is what I'm curious about.
He caved. He's now in North America. He appeared in the preseason game on Monday. And honestly, it was both him and Fedotov in goal on Monday, and Kolosov looked better. He looked like the better goalie. Now, just one game. I think the Flyers want him to start in the AHL. That was part of the reason why they were butting heads in the first place. But it does leave the door open for, let's say if Fedotov, after a month and a half, he's appeared in 6 games and he's looked bad in 5 of them. Maybe the Flyers call Kolosov up and say, hey, we're not going to send Fedotov down, but maybe he can be the third goalie for a little bit and we'll give this kid a shot.
So, future, though, because, do you believe Ersan's the future?
I mean, we'll see. I think this is a big year for him because this is the year where he's going to be the number one.
I don't know if I should be, if I'm wrong to be dubious.
I think he's an NHL goalie. I think this is the year where we're going to find out whether he can be a starter or if he's just a tandem backup type.
Right.
He's going to get the shot this year. The good thing is the Flyers do have a lot of goalie prospects in the pipeline. They have Kolosov, who they successfully got over. So good job, Danny and Jonesy. You got him over here. Now we can see what he's got. You got Carson Bjarnason, who they took in the second round in last year's draft. He actually had a really strong camp. So he's going back to juniors, but he looks like a solid prospect. And then you've got Igor Zavragin, who is in Russia, playing in the KHL at age 19, and he is dominating so far. Now, it's going to be a while before he comes over.
I like all these.
It's going to be a while. He signed a 3-year contract, and I don't think it's going to be a Mishkov situation where his team lets him out early. And I think the Flyers are fine with that. But if this guy, because he's on a bad KHL team and he has like a .930 save percentage right now, if he could keep something close to this up at age 19 on a bad KHL team, suddenly the Flyers may have one of the better goalie prospects in the league. So keep an eye on him. He's a few years down the road, but keep an eye on him.
Yeah, that's
now we're talking.
Kolosov, what's he projected as? Because I thought he was projected as a potential starter, like legit starter.
I think he is. I think that's his upside. Here's the thing with Kolosov.
The other kid looks like Hasek.
He's extremely athletic. This is a guy who he's going to make the highlight reel save. He's a really good skater in goal, and he just has the flashy lateral movement where he can just slide over and make the lunging glove save. He's a little on the small side, so he's going to have to overcome that. He's only 6 foot, which for goalies in the NHL these days, it's pretty small actually. So he's going to have to overcome that. But he has the athleticism where, in theory, if he can put the rest of his game together, he does have number one upside. So don't write off Kolosov. I think the Flyers have 3 legitimately good goalie prospects in Kolosov, Bjarnason, and Zavragin. And then they have Ersan, who you're going to find out this year if he's a starter. So I think they have pieces in the system to solve the goalie problem. It just comes down to if one or 2 or 3 of them step up and prove they're NHL goalies.
Hey, Charlie, I've become a Zamboner in this dip of productivity from the Flyers. So it seems like I equate the goalie to like a quarterback where it's nice to have a veteran backup around. Like, is that something that is there anything to having that on the squad? And do you think the Flyers are good with not having a veteran backup?
I think they'll be okay. I think you're right in that in an ideal world you do. The Flyers very much tried to do that with Carter Hart when he was developing. They wanted to have the veteran behind him so he could bounce ideas off of the vet and just talk to him when things got tough. So I agree with you that is probably the best way to do it. But I don't think it's going to kill Sam Ersan that he doesn't have a vet. And in fairness, Fedotov is a veteran. He's 27 going on 28. It's just he's not a veteran of the NHL. He's a veteran of Russia.
Plus, if you're if you're a cup contender, you want the veteran back. You want somebody stabilizer.
Mm-hmm. They also have a lot of young boys too that they just need to see what they got going on with them.
Chow, I love it, man. What's your schedule today?
Heading to Voorhees probably in about 15 minutes to cover practice. There's only 2 more days left in training camp. There's today, which is a practice day, and then tomorrow is the preseason finale at the Wells Fargo Center against the New Jersey Devils. So that ends camp.
And then you're on to the West Coast, the Canadian West, next week.
Wow.
With the squad. Because it's Vancouver, right?
Vancouver, then Calgary, then Edmonton, then it closes out in Seattle.
Which I don't like the West Coast. It's good you get out of the way, but I don't like the West Coast trip to start the season. Like, it's almost like a soft opening.
I just think it's a bummer because I think fans are really excited about Michkov, and now they're going to have to stay up until 10 p.m. to watch the kid for his first game. That's a bummer.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Brother, great stuff, man. You're killing it, as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, by the way, we owe you props. You were on the Ranger. You said Ranger would come down to earth. Listen, we keep score around here, so you deserve props.
I didn't want to be right. I want him to turn back into playoff Ranger. We need playoff Ranger badly.
Damn right we do. Yep. Ciao. Thanks, buddy. Good stuff,
All right,
pal.
see you guys.
Charlie O'Connor. Yeah. Charlie O! You pop my eyeball out? You made me pop your eyeball out for Charlie O? What movie's that?
Casino.
Casino.
Yeah, great movie.
Charlie O. We had his head in a vice, and he kept tightening it, and his eyeball popped out.
That was one of those movies I had to seek away from my parents to watch.
Oh, yeah? That's funny.
A good one.
All right. Time now. Brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Okay. What is it?
He's got the...
What's the hat?
It's the Breakers.
Oh.
Put his head in a vice and pop his hat off.
Really? That hat is horrible. So here's the deal. We are doing a hat intervention, not renovation. I was going to say renovation. A hat intervention. All right. We are going to send you PHLY hats. All right. So
I accept.
Yes. So we're going to have a legion of hats. It was Vinny's idea. Vinny, our GM, who I love, my main man. That. He said, "Let's get Brad PHLY hats. Then he's good."
Yeah,
can't go
then
wrong
you
with
can
that.
stop ripping his hats.
Yeah.
I go, all right, that's a deal.
I'll take it. I would appreciate that very much.
Now you're frozen on the screen. Where are you,
Well,
buddy?
it is my Bach again.
I'm in the car. The stupid internet is still not working at my house. It's supposed to come. Comcast is supposed to come and like a half hour fix this stupid thing.
You got no coffee shop you could drive to?
You know what's amazing? You're frozen. So all we see is your head and the hat.
Probably a better look anyway.
Hey, all right, let's get to business because I can't stop looking. Is there another picture you can put on the Brad?
It's got that high quality leather behind him.
I can look for something.
Like, I gotta tell you.
When he's at the wedding or something, we got some
Yeah,
nice
I
Brad
tell you look like
pictures. He
James
looks
Bond.
good.
You look like James Bond that way in the south of France. So, dude, good day yesterday, right?
6-0.
Tigers,
6-0.
Reagan's, your boy Reagan's pitched to Gem. Mets, they're scary. Pods, I love the Pods. I told you I love
Everything
the
won
San
yesterday,
Diego.
Anthony. Yesterday would have been a good parlay day because every bet won. I mean, it would have been. I mean, like those are far and few between to win every single one. But yesterday, like every bet won. I mean, so it's hard to complain when everyone wins. VG, you hit your parlay.
I did. I had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, and it's funny. I bet over 5.5 strikeouts. He left injured, or they came out on the last batter. I thought maybe I was toast, but he came back in, struck out the last guy, and everything worked itself out. But like that was. Look again. You talk about these short series, guys. Everything comes down to that first game. The teams are 14-2, I believe. That first game, 14-2. So they're in some real trouble. These teams that lost the first game. I mean, they're in real trouble. I mean, it's not going to be easy to just, win 2 games in a row. But I do have a prop, Anthony, I want to talk about, and I think has edge. The Astros today. okay, against the Tigers.
Tigers
And I know
bullpen game.
my camera's off here. I apologize. The Astros against the Tigers. I like the Tigers under 3.5 runs. Hunter Brown, his last 19 starts, has given up 1 or 0 runs 13 of 19 times. The Tigers, to me, out of the, what are there, 12 teams in the playoffs, 10 teams, whatever it is, I think they have the worst lineup out of all these teams by a wide margin. Now, they win because their bullpen's been the best and because Skubal is the best pitcher. But this team cannot score. Astros, I say give up. I'm going to call it. I say Tigers score 0 or 1 runs today. Another low-scoring game, but I really like them under 3.5 runs. I do not think they're scoring 4 runs. All hands-on-deck game for the Astros. If there's even a hint of struggle for Hunter Brown, they will bring in their best pitchers in the season elimination game. Hard to score 4 runs in a game like that, Anthony.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Hunter Brown was funny. He struggled early. Remember, he got hit around early. And then he went on this tear that you're talking about, where his strikeouts just because you can see his velocity. He's another one who came. I think he had Tommy John because he was hurt and he came back.
Yeah.
And his velocity really increased, and that's where I agree with you. And by the way, the Tigers throwing a bullpen game.
Yeah, but that what's funny, Anthony? The Rays started this trend like 8 years ago, whenever it was. But the Tigers this year, listen. Now I said to you right now, you guys know sports at the highest of high levels. If I said name the Tigers starters right now, it'd probably be crickets, right? Yeah. Because they don't really have anyone. You know, it's really like, but they have all these bullpen openers, and these guys have just pitched really well. A bunch of no-name guys. I remember the year for the Phillies, Anthony. The late Real Cormier had that great year. And I think it was, and he just had the ERA.
08, man. I mean, Real was,
Yeah, and it's the Tigers have had a bunch of guys having those. That happens with relievers sometimes. You can get these guys that normally have an ERA of 4 that go to sub 2. And that's what the Tigers have gotten. And because of that, despite not scoring many runs, they've had a lot of success. And, that's a team in a short series and a best of 3. I think you can argue they're as tough as anyone to beat because of that Skubal factor in game 1.
All right. Team that scares me, we were talking about it, is the Mets, man. They are vampires. Yesterday, I'm watching that thing and I'm bated breath, right? And Milwaukee jumps out with 2, right? Milwaukee jumps out with 2.
I can't even.
That's really
God,
good.
Jesus Christ.
That's really good.
I can't even.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So Milwaukee jumps out for 2. Mets score 3 in the second. Milwaukee comes back in the 4th, and they score 2 more. In fact, they should have had more. They left runs on the table. Sure. And then the Mets go with a 5-run, 2-out rally, top of the 5th, and then they cruise. I mean, they're frightening right now.
You got to give the Mets credit, Anthony. And you got to credit's due. You see this team, Steve Cohen, obviously the year before when he signed Scherzer and who else? He signed Scherzer and Verlander, spent $1 zillion on his team. And then, they were the biggest bust in baseball last year. They won 75 games. This year, he puts no money into the team. And here they do. And they Lindor, who signed that, big mega deal 5 years ago, first 4 years he was okay. This year he's probably going to be second in MVP. So they've gotten a great year out of him. And credit to them. Listen, Sean Manaea was always, it's funny, Sean Manaea has always been a guy that I've always thought had a chance to be good, and they signed him as a reclamation project cheap, and he's been terrific for them, absolutely terrific.
I hate Sean Manaea.
Look, I don't think they're good enough, Anthony.
No, I've always hated
good enough.
Because you know why? He's got no arm. He's just slop. He's got no bite. Rag lefty.
I'm just saying though, but this team to me though, Anthony, again, Milwaukee to me was very limited. I look at Milwaukee. They don't have any. To me, Milwaukee actually is a team. You're about a team that really doesn't have much. I have no idea how Milwaukee won 90-some games. I mean, Churio had a great rookie year. Obviously, our boy Reese is there. Yeah. But this is not a great team. This is actually, to me, a very weak team. Look, the Mets, if they have to face the Padres, the Phillies, or the Dodgers, which they'll have to, they're just going to be a big underdog. I don't think they're in any of those teams' classes. I really don't. That's just my opinion. Again, the three best teams in baseball, Anthony, I've been saying it, are the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Padres. They're the three best teams.
Well,
And,
I mean,
one
our
of those
boy
three teams should
that
win
you
the
and I
World
both
Series.
love, that Michael King was.
He's been that last night was incredible.
I mean, last night
was.
I mean, he was filthy. Like, he had everything working last night, and just the movement on his pitches. He's filthy, man.
Well, listen, Anthony, you got to think of it like this. They gave up Juan Soto. He was the premier piece in that deal.
know.
And usually, and look, they still lost in the deal. Juan Soto's still obviously worth more than Michael King, but at least they got a guy that went had won about 15 games, had over 200 strikeouts, and boom, game one of the playoff series. That was about as dominant gets. And they're a tough team. Anthony, again, that's a team to me. And I remember like it was yesterday. VG was like, he's like, Brad, he goes, I'm really liking the Padres. He goes, they seem like they're playing really well right now. And it was literally like that day or the day before I bet them to win the NL. And I like the way that team looks because I think that they're going to win every close game with that bullpen.
They're beating the
going to
Dodgers.
be-
I swear they're beating the Dodgers.
Yeah, when those games are 2-2 after 6 innings, good luck beating them.
I know.
Good luck beating them. And that is the team
I mean, they all
that
throw 100. I mean, it's amazing.
It's really tough.
They throw
That is
fire.
a really good team. That's a really good team. Again, the NL this year, Anthony.
Yeah.
Again, I don't remember having 3 teams that are this tough.
No.
In a while.
I gotta tell you, I love it. I love playoff baseball. Like yesterday, it's like kind of my happy place. I watched. I had to go to football practice, right, for Moscow, but I'm watching Mets and Brewers, and I caught the first couple of these before practice, and then I'm watching it on my phone, and then last night I just nestled in downstairs by myself and watched watched Padres, and it was just awesome, like just the atmosphere.
It was a good atmosphere. It was a good atmosphere in the stadium. Look, I'll be honest. San Diego, Anthony, tell me if you agree. Like you talk about a city that's never had any success. I mean, they had. I mean, the Chargers have never won a Super Bowl. Never been the. Actually, they went to one. Did they go to Super Bowl? The Chargers, Anthony. Did they go
Chargers?
To
no.
Oh, yeah, against 49ers. Yeah, they went to the 49ers. The 49ers beat them like 55-10 or whatever. But here's a team that's never won a championship, right? Padres have never won a World Series. The Yankees beat them like 4-0 many years ago, and the Chargers have never won. They don't have a basketball team. They don't have a hockey team. This is a team that just has never had any, and they don't even have the Chargers anymore. Like they don't have. They've never won a championship. And it's look, that's I kind of like, you know what? I mean, I'm not that I'm rooting for them. Obviously, rooting for Phillies, but. Like if anyone
No, you
was
get the atmosphere. It's a great atmosphere. Dude, like if you love the sport, like we love the sport, so it's a great
the Phillies
atmosphere.
will the Phillies play the Mets if the Mets win? Is that correct?
Yes. Mets are
Right.
winning.
So, okay. See, I think
My
that
whole
is-
show,
I
our
gotta
whole
tell
show
you-
today has been Phillies-Mets showdown. It's going to happen.
Right, but here's the thing, Anthony. See, I think, and tell me if you guys agree. I think getting the number 2 seed was a gift. A gift. Because I would way rather play Milwaukee or New York than if it is San Diego. It's not even close to me. It's the Mets. I mean, the Padres would give the Phillies fits. Okay, let them and the Dodgers fight that out.
On. No, I'd much
And the
rather. We talked about that. You're spot on.
Yeah.
All right, who do we like today? So let's go through it. So today you said you like the Stros under
My best
Tigers
3.5 runs, Anthony, for Detroit. That is the only thing I personally bet today. I made it under 3.5 runs for the Tigers. The Tigers are not scoring 4 runs today. The Tigers will not score the 4 runs.
What on the bet part? Of course, Brad is our ambassador.
Yeah, it was minus
Bet Parx,
137
Sportsbook
on Bet Parx. It was minus 137 when I looked, which, by the way, best price in the world. Bet Parx, best price in the world.
I mean, I like the Stros. I mean, I think the Stros hit today too.
You know, it's funny, Anthony, when I looked at their lineup yesterday, because the Stros have actually had, again, all these things is when you're healthy. They had Tucker out for 2.5 months. They had Alvarez out the last month. When I looked at their lineup yesterday, I was like, holy you know what? I'm like, this is this may be the best lineup right now outside of the Dodgers. I go, they had Altuve, Tucker,
Bregman.
Alvarez. The catcher Diaz is incredible.
He
It
can
was
hit.
a Bregman. It was a really good lineup, and I'm like, wow.
Pena at short can hit. Like they got bats everywhere. I like the kid Myers.
I totally agree. I like the Astros to win the game. Maybe even take the Astros in a run line game, taking a nice price. But again, it's so hard to score these runs.
Like those run line games.
All right, how about
because you get a nice price.
Baltimore KC. Can Baltimore come back? And it is amazing. Lugo, who was on fire first half, came down to earth against our old buddy Zach Eflin.
Eflin, Anthony, for them, it's 9 starts. I think he went 5-2 with a 2.60 ERA. Now, Baltimore really struggles against lefties, Anthony. Really struggles against lefties.
Yeah.
Now, Lugo, first 3 months, the guy pitched like Cy Young. Then he was mediocre for 2 months. His last month in the year, he was great again. One of those guys just having a career year, but is he that good? Look, I lean Eflin here. I do. I think Eflin gets it done. I actually think Eflin has, I even weirdly trusted him more than Burns. Burns pitched a great game yesterday, obviously, but I think Baltimore can find a way to win this one. Even though I do think Kansas City, is tough, and they got Vinny Pasquantino back, but not a game I'm betting because I'm not willing to lay that price. But you asked me who I think is going to win the game. I think Baltimore wins it.
Mets, Milwaukee. I think I think the Mets win and they're done.
I don't like Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas to me is just a guy I would rather not be pitching in the playoffs. Quite frankly,
yeah, he stinks. He was stuck in Oakland. Like he was the benefit of that big ballpark, right? Yeah. Bloated numbers. Frankie stinks.
Yeah, and listen. Obviously, Minea can go either way. But I lean Mets again. I think the spread right now.
The Mets are going to win because they're going to score. They're going to just scratch out runs. They're going to do what they're doing now. They're vampires.
I lean Mets for sure.
And then Braves Padres, great matchup tonight. Fried and Musgrove.
Anthony, it was interesting. They had on Parx, when I looked, Fried's out at 17.5, and I think it was like over minus like 200. And I was tempted to bet the under because I'm like, man, in these postseason games, it's not easy to get 6 innings. Again, unless you're Wheeler, Skubal. Now, Fried could be one of those, but he's done it so many times. He's done like the last 7 starts he's gotten there. But I think the Padres still are like kind of a tough lineup, all hands on deck. I don't know if he's going to get those 6 innings. He may, but Fried's also had some weird games where I've seen him just not get there. I don't know. I have a feeling he may not get those 6 innings, taking a nice price. But obviously, that's going to be a great game.
All right, tonight we'll be there 6 o'clock. Cousins Corner.
Yeah, wait, a lot of football,
right?
buddy.
We'll go all the football. Every college and pro game tonight. Props, you name it. Special.
And I'll have my Wi-Fi. I'll have the Wi-Fi, Anthony. So don't worry.
I love it.
A better hat too, hopefully.
I love it.
Yeah. You got to tell Vinny to send me the hat.
I will. Vinny will send it to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Send me the hat.
I'm riding Lugo tonight. I'm on Lugo. All Lugoed up.
All right. It could be looking.
Haka Lugo. All right. See you, buddy.
Be good.
Stuff. My man. VG's going to Haka Lugo. You got to love it. Let's talk about the Parx online sportsbook and casino. Yes. It's got you covered. We talk about it all the time, man. Brad's the ambassador. The best lines, all right, you're going to find right there. And here you go. He gives you the under, right? Under Tigers runs. He gives you, I like the Astros. And unfortunately, I like the Mets too tonight. And Padres, I go back to the Padres. I think they beat the Braves, put the Braves out of their misery.
They got a bit of Lugo with me tonight. Come on.
All right, Haka Lugo.
Let's be Lugo brothers.
All right, Haka Lugo. We'll go for it. All right, we'll go KC and Haka Lugo. Listen, while you're watching the game, you could play all the best casino games, live, dealer, blackjack, right? Roulette, craps, baccarat like VG. He's a big baccarat because he's in the south of France at times himself. Yeah. He goes to casino.
Bet banker.
Right
banker
there.
Only. Straight banker on baccarat.
So you can find all that stuff on the Parx Sportsbook Online Casino app. In fact, if you're down the first 24 hours, you're a new customer and you're down, you get up to $1,000 back. So check that out. BetParx.com has all the details. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Glatt.
Glatt. Listen, people, don't be like me and wait till it's too late and you got a powdered dome head. No. Your hair's starting to thin out. Get on the horn and get a hold of Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical. Established by the late Dr. Paul Glatt, now part of the Morgenstern Center under the direction of the renowned plastic surgeon Ken Morgenstern. He's a nationally recognized specialist and among the few surgeons in the country who's trained in oculofacial plastic surgery and facial cosmetic surgery. Doctors Glatt and Morgenstern shared a remarkable bond over many years as colleagues. They were friends, they collaborated on critical research studies, and they worked together in the operating room. So what makes Glatt Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical better than all those others? Well, it's the same peerless approach to care, same expert team, same unmatched Glatt system, and same state-of-the-art location with the same stellar results. It's under the direction of Dr. Morgenstern. As I said, he's a highly respected plastic surgeon. Each member of this exceptionally trained team brings over 30 years of industry experience, and hair restoration is all they do. They don't mess with lips, eyes, nope. Hair restoration's it. Anyone can buy equipment and say they do hair restoration, but only Glatt Hair offers decades of proven results using an innovative approach and delivered by leaders in this industry. Glatt Hair can help during all stages of hair loss with leading-edge treatments for prevention and restoration, including laser light therapy and non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient always receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint the best course of treatment, and caring patient advocates work with you from the first phone call to the last follow-up visit. Glatt Hair isn't just about restoration, it's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments really do dramatically change lives, change your hair, change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit GlattHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
All right. Now, I look forward to this every week. He's one of these people, again, who makes you smile, right? He's a guy, local guy, your neighbor, the whole thing, who's made it huge. He was hobnobbing with Dick Vitale in a tuxedo, looking good. He's all over college football, ABC, ESPN, all over SportsCenter. He's the great Kevin Negandhi.
Yeah! Oh, look at him!
Red October!
Yeah. Here we go.
Fightins.
How we feeling, fellas?
So, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm freaking scared, all right?
Yeah.
I'm freaking scared because those scoundrels are hot. They are hot. Oh, God. Like yesterday, they come back. They're down 2-0. They come back. They score 3, right? They're down 4-3. They score 5 with 2 outs. The freaking Mets. And there's nothing worse than the Mets.
They got a magic that we saw 2 years ago with this team, right? Getting hot, just getting in, got nothing to lose. House money, just roll the dice, and let's just keep it going. And you're constantly hitting, right? That's what this team is. That team is. It's not about bloated contracts. It's about grinders. The Mets in previous years' expectations, I think, and the high payroll this year, it's not. It's about guys that know how to advance a runner. They know how to bunt. They steal at the right time. They've got a hot hand right now, and the Brewers just look like uh-oh. And again, the Mets vibe is the same exact feeling that I think Phillies fans went through literally 2 years ago when we had to make the playoffs in the final 2 weeks and we were red hot and we were like, we got nothing to lose. No one wants to play us. And, you know, it's so funny. Somebody asked me yesterday how I felt about the Phillies, and I said, the only way I can describe the Phillies is the same way I feel about the Eagles. The Phillies could get swept in the NLDS or they could win the World Series. And the Eagles could be a top 10 pick next spring, or they can win the division. Like, there is no in between. I feel like
it's a great analogy. But let me ask you this, because I trust the Phillies way more than I trust the Eagles. Like, I think the Phillies are legitimately a terrific, great team, right? Like, listen, baseball's baseball, and you're right. Like, we're talking about being scared of the Mets, but the Phillies are an elite team. The Eagles are not.
No. I totally. I will say, I think talent-wise, the Eagles have elite talent in certain specific spots that I think any fan base would just die to have. I think when you look at the Phillies roster and you look at their lineup, I think any fan base would love what the Phillies have. And their frontline pitching. Rangers scares me, but also on the back end, they have finally figured out the bullpen, which is a phenomenal experience and feeling. But we also come down to this, and I think it's the same thing with the Eagles. The top 3 hitters have to figure it out because there's a big drop-off in the bottom 3. There's a massive drop-off, and if the top 3 hitters, if a pitcher figures out the top 3 hitters, they're going to have an easy time because we don't have guys that advance runners. We don't have guys that are going to figure out a way. We've got boppers. And boppers, when they feel good, that ball looks like a beach ball. Yeah. They've got to feel good. That's my thing. At one point, the only way I could describe the Phillies is I think the Phillies were just tired, and they were like, let the postseason begin. We're going through the motions. Let's go. Let's get to the postseason after that great start. It's very similar to the Orioles. When you watch the Orioles yesterday, they've got a bunch of guys.
That stadium is
tight.
Yeah,
that's tight. They start the season just like the Phillies' first 3 months. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Play 500 the rest of the way. Phillies did the same thing, and everybody's tight in that building. And that's my concern. How tight are they going to be in games 1 and 2 Saturday and Sunday?
See, what's funny is I feel a little different. I have to be honest with you, brother. Usually you and I see it like perfectly. I think that they're loose. And that they're used to October, right? Like they've had 2 October runs. And listen, this baseball's baseball, right? Like you go cold for 2 games and they bite you. And that's what happened. I mean, truthfully, it's like that's what happens with baseball. Like they start pitching you backwards and you go into a 2-game funk and they lose. But they shine. Like Bryce is a bright lights player. Castellanos, right? Like you talk about the top 3. Think about it. Let's go see how you feel. So you got, I think Turner is a big deal because Turner's an engine.
Without a question. Yes.
So Turner, to your point, you got to get Turner because if Turner's raking, don't forget about it. They put up crooked numbers. Then you got, you feel good about Bohm, right? You still feel good about him.
Yeah, I do.
I was
So
not a confident answer.
Bohm hasn't been the same, and maybe that week off will help, right?
Right.
Bryce has been dealing with nagging injuries.
Yeah, elbow.
I think Castellanos has had a phenomenal year playing 162 games and been very consistent. It's just sometimes Nick can get suckered in against really good pitching, and when that ball drops in the zone, he is swinging. And he is swinging for the fences. And that's the thing that gets me here. And maybe it's PTSD. Maybe I'm carrying some PTSD from last year's experience. And you're right. Out of both those teams, I would feel a little bit better with the Phillies. I just got to see.
We were talking about JT back. JT's healthy.
You're doing a great job trying to convince me to feel better. But I also have PTSD, right? And in the end, Bryce hasn't been right. So maybe the week gives him some time, right? I just got to tell you guys. You mentioned one.
Bryce is the king of October.
Yeah, you mentioned one thing though. They go through a 2-game drought.
Yes.
We have seen this team. There are no 2-game droughts. There are 5-game droughts.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me. It's okay.
Well, last year against Arizona was a 2-gamer. I mean.
And then let's not forget how we were feeling up 2 games to 1 after that 5-home run sequence we had in Game 3 at the World Series, and then no hit the next night. It's just some drops that you're like, this is inexplainable. No one can stop the bleeding.
But isn't that just baseball? I mean, part of it's listen. They don't have. You're right in this. That you talk about boppers, right? You talk about crushing the ball. part of baseball is, they're not a team that's gonna manufacture runs and all. That's not who they are. But they do have pitching, and they do have a really good bullpen. Defense scares me, which is why I think you need Rojas in the game.
Yeah, and I love Rojas, but
no, he's going to take the collar at the plate. Yeah,
it's just killer on the bottom half of that lineup, and Stott has been really disappointing this year. So I listen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope.
No, listen. I hear you, but I was afraid of the Mets. Now you got me trying to butchers pick you up. Oh man, we really are separated.
That's what friends do. That's exactly what they do. Okay, so there's a good chance they're facing the Mets in the first round, and they've got to figure it out. And let me tell you, the Mets are feeling like what we felt 2 years ago.
I know they are.
And listen, hey, I want to say one thing too. I want to make sure everybody hears this. Okay, if we face the Mets in the first round or the NLDS, man, game 1 and 2, I don't want to see any blue and orange. I am sick of seeing Mets fans come into the bank. I'm insulted by that. I'm sick of seeing blue and orange. We saw that in the postseason with the 6-6. I am so sick of that. The best part of this Phillies thing in the postseason is the home field advantage. I don't want to see Mets fans. I don't want to hear Mets fans in the bank on Saturday and Sunday if they face the Mets.
Well,
I don't.
It's funny. The guys brought up, and they were spot on, the Knicks series, right? And what that was like. That was horrible.
It was disgusting.
It was.
It was awful.
Yeah.
That was
nasty.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that, I think we all understand and deal with and put up with. Inexcusable in that environment. Inexcusable on Saturday and Sunday if the Mets are coming to town. That's all I'm going to say.
He's right.
I mean, he's right, but that New York money's that's a lot more powerful than the Philly money. These guys got money up there.
Philly got money, but I also understand. I do understand that if they're going to buy the tickets, and listen, you're buying the regular season package, so you have postseason, you could sell them off to a certain extent. These first 2 games, hold off, sell the other ones, and maybe but don't sell them to Mets fans.
Agreed.
Sell them in the next round. The price point will go up higher. Don't sell them to Mets fans. Come on, man. What are we doing?
You're preaching.
No, you're spot on. As always, you're spot on.
He came in strong with the maroon, the old school.
I know, it looks great.
He
looks like $1 million. Yeah, he looks great. That T-shirt's
great
ridiculous.
color on him.
It's a great color. Now let's talk about the other team. All right,
he's going to be optimistic on the Eagles. Now you watch.
You feel it was funny because you said we talked about talent, and obviously, listen, you get Lane back. And you get AJ and Devonta, it's different. But man, the coaching, man, it's not pretty. I mean, what we saw Sunday was a travesty. The missed tackles. I mean, it was an abomination to the sport. It was insulting. You talk about insulting? That insulted the football gods. That effort.
And we have said this since the 10-1 collapse. Where is the accountability? Where is the account? You can bring in new coordinators. Where is the accountability on both sides for the players, for the coaching staff, for the quarterback, for the defense? Where is the accountability? You're watching a quarterback who clearly does not trust any other wide receivers outside of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. You clearly see that there's a trust issue going on between the offense, and then where's the accountability on the defense? It was embarrassing. And you know what, Ant? It was predictable. I couldn't believe the line. I could not believe that the Eagles are favored. I knew that they were beat up, but they have shown nothing against Todd Bowles. You and I talked about it, and VG and all the guys. Yeah. We talked about it last week. They've shown nothing over the last 3 years on trying to counter whatever Todd Bowles is doing. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. Todd Bowles has the blueprint on shutting down the Eagles offense with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and it has not changed.
Oh my God, Kev, he's blitzing 3rd and 27. He's blitzing 3rd and 27. I mean, you want to talk about a backhand that was, watch this. What? Yep. Give up a big play? No shot. We're getting home.
Yep. And then here's the thing, and this is a perfect example. Like Orlovsky put out something like a breakdown, and he said, just look at the first 9 offensive plays for this Eagles team. 7 of them were passing. You have freaking Saquon Barkley in your backfield, and you don't have AJ, you don't have Devonta, and you don't have Lane Johnson, and you have 26 behind, and 7 of the first 9 plays are passing plays. Like, what are we doing? This madness.
And to your point, the 2 run plays came on 2nd down, identical 2nd down plays after incompletions. Okay.
And long, right?
What do you think they're thinking you're going to do? They know you're going to run the ball. What the frig? Run the ball first 3 plays.
I agree.
Establish something.
There is no accountability. I unfortunately, I feel like this is a lost season because there's no accountability. I think all of us know if there's somebody that commands a room, you freaking make sure you tackle. You make sure you don't go on a podcast. You make sure you're not tweeting about numbers. There's no accountability. And then the quarterback with Jalen's line about we have our moments. Like, what are we doing? Like, I feel like it's the same thing over and over again. And we have seen it is not just 1 month of football. This is carried over from the last 2 months of last season. Where is the accountability? The coach feels like a lame duck situation, and no one is playing for a team. They're playing for themselves.
I mean, it's well said, Kev. I watched the tape last night, and man, Jordan Davis.
Woo!
I mean,
awful.
It looks even worse. Like you could see it sometimes naked eye. He just doesn't even try. Like honestly, if I was Fangio, I would be so pissed. I would bench his ass. Like the effort that you got was nothing. Like you got to make the only way to reach. Like, seems like a nice kid, whatever. I don't care. Like you got to make an example of him, and you got to. I think the only way to reach him is to be punitive with him, right? Because it has nothing's worked. Like you get flash here. Other than there is no effort. There was no effort from him.
Because no one's held accountable, right?
Goes back to your point.
There's no accountability, and it's not like he's being run on every snap. He's not playing the majority of the downs. So when you're there, you got to give us something. There's no accountability across the board.
I know. All you hear is excuses. So Rex Ryan said they're not a team. That they're all individuals. I think he's right about that.
And listen, Sweat said that after week 1. Sweat said everybody's playing for themselves. No one's doing something together as a team. That's clearly no one's taking on the stunts where you have to take on guys, right? Whether you're going to get a number or not, you're still going to make sure the system works. There's literally no accountability across the board. And it's disgusting. Like, I told you, give me a month because I think it's a lot of preseason football in September because they don't have preseason games. We could figure things out. It's the same crap over and over and over again.
And I got to tell you, I mean, it's clear it's the head coach. I mean, you need a head coach with strength. You just do. I know they don't like – I mean, I know they were scarred by Chip Kelly – and they don't want that, but I think you need it. I mean, look at the head coaches that win, right? They're strong personality. It's a coach-led team. Like I think they do by and large a good job in the front office, right? Like we talk about Howie, we talk about Jeffrey, and the whole thing. but you need a coach, man, that's got some strength to him.
Without question. I'm not. If you look at the track record since Laurie took over as ownership, they have never hired a head coach who had NFL head coaching experience in a previous stint. They've only hired assistants, coordinators, or Chip Kelly. The Chip Kelly thing, strong-minded, it backfired. And they've never fired a guy in the middle of a season, and they've never hired. And look at the last two coaching searches. Doug Peterson wasn't a top 3 choice. Nick Sirianni wasn't a top 3 choice, because I think coaches realize around the league, if they're coming in this situation, they're not going to have as much control as they'd like, which I always found fascinating, the Bill Belichick conversation, because I think he'd be fantastic in this place. But control, you're talking about the guy who wants the most control and his discussion, in the offseason of being potentially, hey, there's good relationships and all that. Like, you're giving up a lot from the front office and from ownership if you give it to somebody like as strong-minded like Belichick. But the windows, it shows you, and that these windows are so small, and you've got to take advantage of those windows. If not, you're just pressing the reset button over and over and over again in the NFL. So, perfect example. Look at the Bengals. Now, by the way, awful ownership, but that window is right there. You don't take advantage of that window, you're gone. So I think that the one thing that I find disheartening is, to your point, they don't have an authoritative figure inside that locker room to take control and say, like you said, oh, you're not playing, you're out. Yeah, I don't care. First round pick, I don't care. You're not showing me anything. You're going to think about it for the whole game.
Look at the Sirianni. Listen, God bless. He won a lot of games, right? Like, to start his career
on talent,
right?
On talent.
With the lasso approach, and the lasso approach, it seemed like it was working until there's adversity, and that's where it kind of, you saw it last year, and it doesn't feel like it's fixed. And then it's interesting you brought up Belichick. He's on Pat McAfee, and he's going, can we stop calling the Eagles a contender? Like, who are the Eagles, basically? And he goes, they got a lot of talent there. He's basically putting it on the lap of Sirianni. Again, he feels like he's politicking for it.
Yeah. Well, when Bill talks, I listen, because Bill doesn't talk a lot.
Me too.
When he talks, I'm going to listen to the things he's saying, because there's always a message, and everything's deliberate with Bill, right? Again, look, I would love to look at the numbers, and maybe I should before I bring it up. But just when Steichen took over from play calling in 2021, and they had that run, and all of 2022, look at how comfortable Jalen Hurts has been in those offenses week in and week out, and then compare the bookend of Sirianni's offense, last year's offense, and the beginning of this season's offense, and the comfort, right?
I know where you're going. All right. But let me throw this at you. I think the RPOs and the RPRs allowed him time and windows to throw. Their offense in 2022 was unstoppable, right? Teams had fits. So they weren't blitzing them. Remember, it was a mush rush against them. The word was, don't blitz, because he could hurt you with his legs. And they didn't do that. They couldn't stop the RPR. They were in 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 2nd and 4s. They were in great situations. And so he had windows. He had time, right? So, when you get windows of time, you're a quarterback, you throw dimes. I trust, you said, who do you listen to? I also listen to Brady. Brady said it 10 times that he's got no pocket awareness.
Yep, because he doesn't trust the offense. He doesn't trust what's being called. There's no confidence whatsoever of trusting what is being called on the sidelines to him. And I think there's a complete disconnect. When somebody's in a line...
But now it's Kellen Moore.
Well, look a little bit closer.
When does Jalen have to actually grow as a quarterback?
You're right. You're right. But clearly, when you don't have A.J. Brown, he doesn't trust anybody. And then when you don't have Devonta, he literally doesn't trust John Dotson.
He's also late. He's late on his throw. It's frustrating sometimes. Listen, I'm not putting all this on Jalen, But, yo, dude, like, you got to play better as a quarterback. You got to, his progressions, he's late. There's pieces that this offense should be better.
Without
And
question.
he should be better.
Forcing the ball in windows that are not there, or windows that were there a second earlier, but you held on to it too much because you're processing and saying, it's not there. It's not. You're not just trusting it. Like, again, when he played in that Steichen offense, like you said, well said too, you get that first down movement, right? And then you have the ability to run at any time. I think he's running this year, which is great. Like, he's got more comfort in that knee where he wants to run. They're not taking advantage of it in any way possible of, hey, get that ability to roll out a little bit more, and you just have to trust where the ball is going to go. There's no trust right now in this entire offense. And we extend that, there's no trust on that defensive line. No one trusts anybody. Nobody. It's bad, man. It's a major disconnect.
Go ahead.
I mean, I didn't know what you were going to say, Kev, when you were saying look a little closer when it's Kellen Moore's offense. But, I mean, there's rumblings around that. Is it totally Kellen Moore's offense? And one stat that's jumping out is this. They rank 19th in pre-snap motion, and Kellen Moore normally has a lot more pre-snap motion.
Kellen Moore? Let's be real, too.
And he's a
Let's
guy.
not like a Kellen Moore is
not saying he's not a
Kyle
guy,
Shanahan,
but
right? Like, Kellen Moore failed in Dallas.
Agreed.
And he failed with the Chargers.
Agreed.
Like, you know.
Yeah, I'm just saying he normally runs a little more motion.
He runs more motion. But just let's see how this continues after the bye. On what do we see? Are we seeing Kellen Moore's offense, or are we seeing the offense from a year ago? What do we? Let's just keep an eye.
Hey, that's Gallows humor. They're going to beat the Browns. They're going to be 4-2. I hope. I mean, but they should be 4-2.
Ed, don't do that. Don't do that. This is where we get in trouble. Don't do that, Ed. You cannot do that. You can't, like, after we just did all these things, and I love you so much, but you can't make any assumptions with this team because they're not playing like a team. Like, we have no idea.
You're right. Except Deshaun Watson.
Hey, Deshaun Watson may not even be playing in that game. They may have Jameis Winston on the field, right? Like, the thing is, the one thing about the Browns is that defensive front's going to bring it. 95 is going to be in the backfield. He will muck it up.
And Chubb is back. So
Chubb's going to run for 180.
Yeah. So you're right. You're right. I shut up. Hey, well, I got you. I got to do this, dude. That was one of the greatest football games I ever watched. You want to talk about quarterback play? Can I tell you, Milroe? Oh my God.
Don't believe it.
We talked about him last year. You remember, like, we were talking about how he made that ascent. He made that jump. Like, middle of the season, he made the jump.
You want to know why? And Nick actually talked about this, Saban. He said, our coaching staff realized that we have to adjust the entire offense to the talent of the quarterback. Instead of us saying fit in our system, they decided, hey, and the entire team changed when it was like, what can he do? And what he can do is a hell of a lot. And now he's even better in DeBoer's offense. Like, even better.
Oh my God. That game was unbelievable. Now, I was like close to giving up on it, right? Because it felt like Georgia was just done. Like the way it was. Wow. Like, this college football's the great. That's why, like, the way they come back, right? Oh my God, they take the lead. And Milroe's sensational. Beck shakes off a horrible start.
It was incredible, and like as the game was progressing, just the emotions. I think we often forget they're 18 to 23-year-olds going on the momentum of the crowd and the momentum of everything, and then you saw like the swings back and forth in the final 4 minutes. It was an amazing game, and don't tell me anybody from the outside, the playoffs ruining anything. Are you kidding me? Those two teams played that game like it was a playoff. It meant a hell of a lot. And by the way, I want to plug something. I'm going to have Jalen Milroe on SportsCenter. I'm talking to him today. We're going to air probably tomorrow and a lot on Friday. So I'm going to talk to him this afternoon about his whole experience.
So when will it air?
So you're going to probably see the entire interview air on Friday.
On Friday.
We'll probably if it's tomorrow, but I'm going to talk to him later on this afternoon.
Do me a favor, when you know for sure, let me know. All right, for personal reasons, but for B, I'll put it out there too because I'm dying to hear. I love the fact that you're talking about. I love that kid. That kid is such a talent. My God.
And he's moved. Like, it's amazing, too. Like, when you come back for that extra year, right? Like, think about it. Jaden Daniels, if he would have entered the draft, not in this past spring, but the 2023 draft, probably a 4th-round pick. He comes back that extra year. He becomes the 2nd pick overall, right? The reps of playing, especially in Brian's offense, right? And you're seeing things. You're growing and you're maturing. Same thing here with Jalen Milroe. He's already worked himself into the 1st round. And now it's a question is he potentially the first quarterback taken off the board? Carson Beck, as that first half played out, I was like, so Jalen Milroe is moving up to potentially a top 5 pick, and Carson Beck is probably dropping outside the top 5. And then you saw Beck come back a little bit. But it is an amazing and fascinating thing to see Milroe in this offense with DeBoer and how DeBoer changes things. Because the thing about Alabama, they lose the greatest coach of all time, but you bring in an innovator who understands that it's time to change.
It was such a great hire.
And such a great hire with Alabama's resources, their reputation, and then with his offense, kids around the country will want to play for him.
Yes.
And plain and simple. He's a phenomenal coach, man.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Hey, by the way, Ole Miss.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, that's bad.
That's a horrible loss. Oh, my God.
Kentucky's defensive front, man. And when you play, and Lane talked about this before the game. He was like, I don't know if our early schedule has prepared us for SEC ball. Because they were putting up video game like
70.
Kentucky, man, they will muck you down.
I mean, look what they did to Georgia. They played Georgia to a standstill.
Totally. It just shows you every week, man. SEC, man.
Yeah. The Vols.
Hey, we come out 14 points this week. Easy win against Arkansas. Go Rocky Top.
Kev, you're the greatest, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait for that interview. Let me know, all right? Because I blast it, but I think it's awesome, man. That's fantastic.
Appreciate
you're the best, buddy.
Man. Thanks for letting me get a lot of stuff off my chest, all right?
That's why we do this every week. It's cathartic for both of us.
100%.
Nobody wants to talk college football with me, right?
Yes.
So, and plus, you and I do our dad stuff. We have all our things that we do. We're like two brothers. And so, and then you know, listen, you need somebody to talk to. You get us about Philadelphia sports.
I love it. I love it. Hey, and I'm talking to everybody that's listening. Do not sell your tickets, the Phillies postgame tickets, to Mets fans.
Amen.
Hear
Thank
that?
you.
Please. That's what I've been saying.
That's right. That's right. Kev, we love you, buddy. Best
Be
of
good,
my
fellas.
nephews.
Talk to you next week.
See you, pal. Yeah. Dude. I don't want to see Citizens Bank Park with those creepos.
No.
Can you tell who you're selling the ticket
creepos.
to?
No.
Oh, and they're creepos too. Out of the gutter. We come from the gutter.
He kept bringing up that accountability. It's weird because it's one of Sirianni's top core principles. Super weird that they don't have any.
I know. Hey, I got to tell you about a couple things. One, I got to tell you about Primo Hoagies. We're talking about Red October and baseball and everything. You know what goes great, right? Because you're going to get watch parties. People are going to come over and hang out. And you want to feed them. Just look at the sandwich. Just see the thing on your screen right now. Look at how beautiful that looks. See, it's a seeded roll that's baked fresh in store. Only the finest, freshest Thuman meats and cheeses. Look at the lettuce, like crisp. The onions, perfect. Like, it's such a great sandwich.
It's nice shredded lettuce, too. Too thick, it's not good. It's
No,
perfectly
the
shredded.
shredded is key.
Yeah,
No, you're so
perfectly
right.
shredded.
But like everything they use, they do the meatballs. That the recipe, Big Nick has the meatball recipe. that's been there forever. He perfected it. It took him 6 months to put on the menu. Wow. Because he was like, no, give me another one. Give me another one. The chicken cutlet, like you name it. It's the chicken whacked.
Whack it
it's
up.
very good. All of your platter, like the hoagie platters, the hoagie trays, the pickies, pepperoni and cheese, perfect for a Red October. So go to PrimoHoagies.com. And by the way, get the app, your chance to win free hoagies for a year. So download that Primo's app. Today's Wednesday, $2 off when you become a Primo's Rewards member. So make sure you do that as well. And you'll say what I would say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo.
Good desserts, too, by the way. There.
You really like the desserts, huh?
Yeah, the dirt pudding is good.
You like the dirt pudding. I'm such a savory guy. I can't even – I fill up on the salt. You know?
You don't need like a little cookie at the end, cuz?
Nah, I'm not big on the I'm not big on the sweets. I am big on the Noodle House.
Yeah.
All right.
Love
So let's
noodles.
talk about Parx Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem. We're going to be there tonight for Cousins Corner, Andrew and I. Maybe we'll stop by the Noodle House.
Sounds good to me.
The steakhouse is tremendous. They got it all, man. I mean, you name it. I mean, they have everything over there. It's one of the best. Hey, listen, you got to join us, all right, when we're there. And the beer garden, the sports book, the poker room. It's Pennsylvania's #1 casino, right off of Street Road, 95 or the PA Turnpike. The Excite Center, state-of-the-art entertainment venue inside Parx Casino. Great place for comedy, for concerts. You ready for the lineup? Here you go. October 4th, the Juicy Scoop podcast with Heather McDonald from Bravo and Chelsea Lately. October 5th, comedian Kev Herrera. October 24th, TLC. November 1st, Invincible, tribute to Michael Jackson. November 16th, Bret Michaels.
Skinny bop bop.
That's a VG, man. November 23rd, Steve Trevino, great comedian. December 6th, Patti LaBelle.
Itchy gitchy ya ya da da. This guy's got all the tunes.
December 13th, the podcast Are You Garbage? Not the Eagles' defensive line on December 13th. December 14th, comedian Eric D'Alessandro. Parx Casino, that's how you win. ParxCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Time now. Is it fantasy time? It is fantasy time because right now it's a big week.
Yes, sir.
But let's see. Did you think the geek maybe
he's going to have Jets everywhere, you know.
Yes.
See, I'm a little
3-1. Lead in my
He's
league.
stubborn with this. You just can't tilt his camera.
Yeah. Why don't he kill us?
Just the monitor. Just put it to the side.
I know. I don't understand why he does this. I love the guy.
Don't worry, I got a fix.
You got to fix.
I got a fix. I'll show you when we pull them up.
All right.
Yeah,
all right. Let's go to one and the only geek. Hello, Geekus.
There will be no tilt.
The fix.
You're a genius. It's true. Frazier. I love it. That is so awesome. That is great. You went like this to the geek. Hey, I'm geek.
If you have a Broncos one, that's more appropriate.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for you, buddy.
They're a better team than people think. They're gonna win some games. Good defense.
Well, he's a good coach.
Yeah. I put the Broncos defense on never play anyone against them list. Like that's a rare fantasy list, exclusively reserved for the best of defenses. Never play anyone against the Broncos. Just, put them on the bench.
Yeah. No, I feel you. All right. So this week, going into this week, what's scouring the waiver wire? Like, people are desperate. What's your best advice?
Yeah, not to mention, it's bye week for a few teams this week, including the Eagles. So there are some names on waivers that you want to target aggressively this week. The easiest one is Trey Sermon. It looks like Jonathan Taylor got the high ankle sprain, but it's not the bad kind. It's the less bad kind. Maybe a couple weeks. So a couple weeks of Trey Sermon as a starter. We don't know if he's any good. He used to be on the Eagles. He any good?
So I've always been a Trey Sermon fan going back to Ohio State. I just never thought he was banged up a little bit. He never got used. So he interests me because I think he's got some talent.
I called him in my notes an unknown entity. We haven't really seen him in the NFL, so he could be he could be Jonathan Taylor 2.0. You're going to need a starter this week, so he's somebody I want to.
I like that pick a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I think he's got some chops. I mean, not going to be Jonathan Taylor, but I think he's going to actually. I think he'll play well.
If just a little fantasy football note here. If that information about Taylor was that he was going to be out for a month, 2 months, the season, this would have been take all of your fob, 100% of it. People don't understand that sometimes you got to go all in. This wasn't it because just a 2-week fill-in. But if one of the big mistakes I see people making is trying to conserve their fob, right? Fob is your budget for picking up free agents. If Taylor was out for a long period of time, this was spend the whole thing, whatever you have left, get this guy on your team. So just a little, but this wasn't that spot. But if you ever come across that spot, you go all in. I got a couple other things though, because this is panic week, week 5, or actually we'll get a couple other free agent fob pickups here. Dontavian Wicks. Yeah. That's another name I want people to get on their roster. Christian Watson injured again. Then Wicks gets 12 targets last week. I love that Packers offense with Love at the helm. So you want a piece of Dontavian Wicks for sure. And those are the big ones on free agency. Downs maybe. Josh Downs is available coming off a big week as well, but only if Flacco's the QB. I'm not interested in Downs with Richardson. So
agreed.
Yeah,
isn't it interesting, these pocket quarterbacks, game manager quarterbacks like Darnold, like Flacco goes in, has like success. Darnold, Andy Dalton, like these veteran guys that just get the ball out. It's bizarre.
I don't know what it is about when these guys hit 35, they just get loose and they start slinging it.
Yeah.
And they get better. Flacco is the best he's ever been right now in his career.
It was funny. I was talking to him. They didn't want Cleveland wanted no part of Joe, only because they knew that with the struggles of Deshaun Watson, the fan base would be howling for Joe. And that's why they didn't sign him. He was like, dude, they don't want, even the coach was saying that, through circles, we just can't do that to Watson.
There's not a person alive who doesn't think that the Browns would be better right now with Joe Flacco than the version of Deshaun Watson that they have at the helm. Will that guy transform and become better? I don't know. But the version they have now is
he stinks. Yeah, he's terrible.
I mean, he was good once.
You got to flush him.
Got mental issues. I don't know. He can't get paid. He doesn't release the football. His mind is not working at the speed of the NFL. That's scary. It's not a good thing for a quarterback at all.
No.
One other thing I want to talk about. So week 5, we're in panic mode for some people. I was kind of going through the list. If you drafted Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown or Puka, ETN, these are panic mode situations. And one move I'm seeing people make, and I don't mind it. Devonta Adams, another one. Trades. You want to be trading these big names. If they're disappointing you, give up. Trade. You could still get something for Travis Etienne. It's not looking right for him, but the name brand is still there. I would be looking to move him, not dump him, but can I get Chris Godwin? No. Okay, give me someone else. You want to be looking to move these guys who have been a disappointment and still get value out of them. Tyreek Hill is also tradable, or trade for. You could trade for Tyreek Hill and get him for a bargain if you want to roll the dice on Tua coming back in 2 weeks. There are little gambles. If my team is a disaster, I'm trading for Tyreek Hill and hoping for a miracle.
No, listen, it's smart. Devonta Adams is interesting because where does he go? I mean,
he's got
Antonio Pierce liked his post that he wanted to be traded, right? So he's going to go. Now, I don't think they traded within the division, but they're so bad. And the Chiefs obviously need the receiver.
Well, I guess
Can you
he has
imagine?
said he wants to go to the Saints or the Jets because he's
Yeah.
familiar with the quarterbacks.
Yeah. But like if I'm the Chiefs, are the Raiders bad enough that they would move him within the division? Because the Chiefs, that's a huge loss for them last week. That's another loss you want to talk about. Rice was a stud. Like he was taking over the offense.
Rice had risen up to about WR6. There's almost no one you would have traded away Rice for, 2 days ago, and now we don't know what's going on. Yeah, will they trade within the Lions traded within the division a couple years ago, the big Hawkinson deal. It can happen.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are such a better fit for Devonta Adams. Obviously, the Jets would be fine. They don't really have the need, but, why not? Sounds great.
Saints don't have the need either.
The Chiefs have the need. The Saints do not have the need. Yeah, it doesn't work on the Saints really.
You know what has a need? The Cowboys.
Oh, man.
How about the Steelers? The Steelers need a wide receiver bad.
Steelers need a quarterback.
They'll have one wide receiver. How do we know? They only have one wide receiver.
I know, but the quarterbacks, let's be real.
Field played better last week. Let's give Field some credit.
He stinks. I know you like him because he runs. He loves running quarterbacks.
It's the fantasy way.
Jaden Daniels is my soulmate at this point. He does it all.
You bailed on Hurts. You were all about Jalen. I love Jalen. He's my favorite. And now you give him up for Jaden Daniels.
Daniels is everything I hoped Hurts would become.
Oh, man.
That's great. All right, go through the positions. Who you like this week? Quarterback.
Big game this week. Josh Allen coming off a dud. He has a history of exploding after his bad games.
Stud after the dud, right?
Stud, and especially Josh Allen. He don't like having a bad fantasy score. He comes back angry. Angry Allen against Houston. I'll take some of that. Jaden Daniels every week. I don't care who the opponent is at this point. He is now think of Hurts in his first season where you just had to play him every week. I don't care who he's going up against. Jaden Daniels. Jordan Love this week also at the Rams. Good spot for him as well. They're not a team that wants to score with the running backs. They like throwing for touchdowns, and that's what we like in fantasy football. So those are my three target quarterbacks for the week. At the running back spot, if we're doing DFS, Derrick Henry. How about Derrick Henry is the number one running back? Like, he is doing Derrick Henry things. He's doing everything I thought he could do, but people were suspicious of going into this year. So unbelievable what Henry's doing. There's some obvious ones. Kenneth Walker taking on the Giants at home. Kenny Walker just explosive out there, comes back last week, looks amazing. Now they're taking on the Giants as a favorite. I want favored running backs in favor against bad run defenses, right? That is the combination. And I've got a crazy one for you that's on your bench. You don't even want to start this guy. But I have a weird feeling about him this week. 1 week only, Javonte Williams.
Really?
Denver running back, Javonte Williams. Finally, the Broncos are favored in a game. They're taking on the Raiders. Raiders not looking too good without Devonta Adams out there. Denver will be favored in this one. And if there was ever a time to use Javonte, this is it. Don't work. Never going to work. So that's your bet. Going over to wide receiver group, we're kind of running through some names, especially for DFS purposes, but just in general. Deontay Johnson, cheat code.
Yeah.
You want to play him every week.
As long as Andy Dalton's the quarterback.
As long as Andy Dalton, that's right. You just keep going back to Deontay Johnson. Another one is Nico Collins. Nico Collins at this point.
Dude, he's a stud. He's ridiculous. Yeah. He just catches everything.
He turned into an alpha. Is there anybody? Nico Collins in the discussion for top 3 wide receiver, top 5? He is up there.
Jefferson. Think about it, right? Like Jefferson, and then you got a bunch of CD, right? Nico's
Chase.
Right there.
Yeah, Chase, Nico, and Neighbors. That's probably the whole group.
Neighbors is there. Yeah.
Until
quarterback stinks, but other than that, yeah.
What's the take on the show, by the way, on Tua? Do you think should he quit? Like, what? This has to be a strong opinion.
Dude, I can't. One thing I'd never do is tell someone to retire. I mean, obviously, we all want his health, and we all pray for him. I mean, we're football fans, and we're compassionate, and we understand that. And so you want him to do what you want him to be healthy, and you want him to be safe. But I'll never. I like these people that come out and go, he needs to do this. Hey, listen, that's on him and his doctors, right? Like that's my. I don't know, and I don't. My opinion is to leave it up to him, his family, and his doctors.
Definitely. I mean, one thing I do want to push is I want to normalize wearing the concussion protection ice on the helmet. There's a couple players wearing it all the time now.
Yeah.
I just think these guys aren't wearing. It's kind of like I think they're not wearing because
it'll happen. It'll happen. It's almost like if you remember, wearing helmets in hockey was not viewed as manly or whatever you want to talk. And then they realized, oh man, we need to have helmets. We're going to fall on the ice, the safety, and then shields, eye protection, all that stuff. Like it'll happen.
I think it's the exact same machismo. I use an Italian word, machismo.
That's
Is
Spanish.
that Italian word? That's not Italian. Spanish. Okay, sorry, I try. But it's the same macho sort of like thing that causes these players to not wear. Every quarterback should be wearing that. Should put that thing on. It doesn't, and make it normal. Just make it normal. There's no reason for these guys to get cut.
I'm with you.
It's not slowing your running down. It's just like there's no aerodynamics.
All right, so real quick, because we're running out of time. So you got Nico. Who you like? Who else this week?
Yeah, I mean, we go right back to Jaden Reed in that spot. We want to target these high-scoring games at wide receiver. DK Metcalf at the Giants, really good play. Some sneaky ones. I think you can play Khalil Shakir with Josh Allen. And Brian Thomas Jr. looked pretty good. That's another one. Trevor Lawrence in a good matchup. Could this be the week? If it's not this week, maybe it's never going to happen for
Dude, that loss last week, that was it. That put poor Dougie on the unemployment line after this season. That was a terrible loss.
And, I mean, the Colts are just allowing yardage like crazy. They're bleeding. So if there was ever a time to go for some of those Jaguars weapons, Brian Thomas Jr., whoever it is, this is that week. So we want to go after them hard. At wide receiver, one of the names that I kind of was percolating, and I mentioned before was, tight end, was Tucker Kraft. He's available on your bench in your leagues. Tucker Kraft was the better tight end for the Packers last year too. They have two guys there, but Tucker Kraft has been the more successful one. And then finally, and this is a fantasy football nugget as well. Pick up Denver defense. I mean, they were available after last week. That is a defense you could spend some fob on them and then hold them. Every week, Denver defense is going to be playable. If you don't want to be chasing defenses every week, which I don't mind doing, I don't mind chasing the matchup. If you don't want to do that, you can get Denver right now available this week on waivers, and you could sit him on your team and have him without having to chase. Every single week, Denver defense is playable.
I love that. Hey, we got a couple questions from the chat.
Real quick, Pittman Jr. or Xavier Worthy?
I'm gonna if Richardson is starting, if Richardson's starting, I think you can go Xavier Worthy. But if Flacco play, oh yeah, we're going all in on all the Colts offensive wide receivers, Downs, Pittman, all that, and Flacco.
Shakur or Wicks?
Wow, yeah, that is a tricky. I'd go Shakir, but I like them both. Obviously, I like Wicks also.
And how would you handle Bijan injury? He's not limited in practice, and he plays Thursday.
You're playing. There's nothing to do there. I think he's fine. He's going to play this week. You're not excited. Bijan is one of those guys we're a little nervous about, but there's nothing you can do. You play your studs. If they're healthy, if they're in the game, you put them in your lineup, and you hope for the best.
All right. How do people get a hold of you? And the Sharp app is fantastic. All right. Betting, props, DFS Army. How do people get a hold of you, buddy?
Here we go. DFS Army, of course, at the Sharp. And you can at me at @FootballGeek with your fantasy football questions on Twitter at @FootballGeek. That's always there. And if you guys like to bet on sports, Yeah, at Football Geek. And if you guys like to bet on sports at all and you like tools that help you bet as a sharper bettor, as an advantage bet, that's what Sharp app is all about. So make sure to check that out. You can download it. iPhones, it's an app.
I love it.
Website.
I love it. Great Geek, we love you, buddy. Good stuff. Diehards, we love you. Thanks for hanging with us as always. All right? We appreciate it.
Want to end with a quick back in the day moment?
Yes, I would like to do
The
that.
friends over at Rite Aid today, 16 years ago today, Shane Victorino, grand slam off of CC Sabathia.
Oh, dude, I remember that.
Great scene, cuz.
Oh my God. I was late getting to the game.
Okay.
Because we had a wedding tasting that day. We had a tasting.
Food? Possible food?
Yeah. I'll never forget. I remember running to the game.
There you go.
And a drive in the left field. That is well hit. Ryan Braun looks up. Grand slam home run for Victorino.
I think right before that, there was a great at-bat, Brett Myers.
Yeah, that was the walk.
Yeah.
The meltdown.
That was CC, he didn't melt down, but CC was amped up. Like the crowd got to him.
I was in the crowd.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
And you could see he's pumped up. See, when you get adrenaline rolling, man, sometimes, like Bert Hooton got messed up. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? CC you riled him up, and he overthrew. And then he was missing the strike zone.
Yep, couldn't throw a strike.
I think we're going to see something like that against the Mets.
Oh,
I feel like that was perfect for a lead up to this
it was
weekend.
fantastic. Well, it was interesting because this morning we talked to Charlie. You were here.
Yeah.
Charlie called.
Skip.
So we're talking to the Skip. I go, yo, Skip, the Mets are scaring me, Skip. He said, they're hot. And he goes, well, they're hot. You got to get hotter.
We need it on a T-shirt, cuz. That's great.
He's the best. I was cracking up.
Awesome.
You just got to get hotter.
Amen.
He's right. And I've been holding on to this. I just want to play it once today.
Yeah.
Because he's hot. It's something we're going to hear for a bit. A little Michkov.
Yeah.
Just like if we're going to end, let's end on something super high.
I like it.
I want that,
It's a
BJ.
call. Like, you're going to hear him score, I think, a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There he is.
To Michkov. Michkov hit across the line. He waits. He looks. He fires. He scores! McVay Mania is here. Flyers win the hockey game.
I kind of like Michkov Mania a little better than the
Yeah, I do too.
Mania. I like the Michkov.
Michkov is a cool name.
Yeah.
Michkov.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, dude. We
Right?
Yeah.
a stud here.
Yeah.
Stud.
And then we got the other run, the guy that we had Charlie on earlier, and we were talking about the other Russian goalie.
Fedotov.
No.
Kolosov.
No.
Oh.
The
Jorgensen.
18-year-old or whatever over in the cage.
The
Yeah.
19-year-old kid.
Zagragin is the guy.
Sounds like a prison.
I know. Zagragin. He's in the KHL now.
5 years of Zagragin.
He's like Hasek.
Yeah,
He's like
dude.
Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
Like, that's the future. Zagragin. Oh, I love it. I go crazy
Fired
over
up,
that.
baby.
Yes. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hey, couple things. One, stay tuned today at 5 o'clock. Red October specials begin.
Nice.
So we're going to go inside baseball. We're going to geek out with some baseball. In fact, today I got Penn coach John Yurkow with me. Tomorrow, David Segui is going to join us, Jim Salisbury. We're going to go through all the playoffs every day in October. Red October special. So that's today at 5. And then at 6, we're going to do Cousins Corner. All right, so 6 o'clock, Cousins Corner. And, Brad will go through all the games for the weekend, college and pro. So we'll be doing that. Yeah, we'll be doing some of that stuff.
October, cuz.
It's October. It's the greatest month.
Absolutely.
My favorite month.
I can't deny that. Can't deny it.
All right. Everybody, we love you. Have a great day. And we'll see you through the course of the day. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.